Hello Linux lovers, my name's Wimpy, welcome to my world. Well done King Egypt, total win. Yeah, so we got the drop game back in the intros, I fixed that last night. Esme, the way it works is if there's 60 seconds where nobody drops, then it will reload a new game, but you can only drop once per game. So if you get here early, you get to play the parachute drop game for a few minutes whilst we let everyone take their seats. So welcome back. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, this was streamed live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wimpy's World. So if you want to join in interactively with everyone else and play the games before the stream or what have you, then give us a follow over on wimpysworld.tv. No, not Wimpy's. twitch.tv/Wimpy's World. Crikey, I think I need tea. Everyone else got a good cup of tea? Hello, good morning. Hello, Yate Computing, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. So, this morning I'm going to be... so a week ago, we sort of did a Hacktoberfest kickoff across all of the projects that I and we have been working on. So all of those were enabled for Hacktoberfest. We did the initial round of merges and what have you. And I discussed an idea I had for one of those projects in particular. And it's kind of like a Hacktoberfest event, but I don't want to assume it really is because it's more ad hoc. But the idea is this: we have a project, deb-get. Some of you I know are using it. Deb-get is a way to apt install packages that exist outside of the Ubuntu repositories. So, for example, Discord, which has a direct download on their page, you can deb-get install Discord, or deb-get install Zoom, or any number of nearly 300 other bits of software that are otherwise published in like GitHub release pages or what have you. So there's some value there for other projects, particularly those projects that are publishing debs in their GitHub release pages. So my idea for this mini event is to create a workflow and a means to track people contributing documentation changes to projects that deb-get supports and what have you. So it'll be a pull request that somebody can make to, say, I'm trying to think of one, Sift or Gripe, for example, that says if you're on Ubuntu or Debian, you can use deb-get to install and update these packages, and we'll have like a standard bit of boilerplate that I'll have to write now, today. So a standard bit of boilerplate that people can use to create their pull requests to projects. And the idea is, it raises the profile of deb-get, makes more people aware of it, but also adds some value to those projects that deb-get already supports by improving the user experience of installing and keeping the software that they want to use up to date, because that's what deb-get does. So that's what this mini event is. So the idea is, in the spirit of Hacktoberfest, hello Yannick, good morning. In the spirit of Hacktoberfest, it doesn't require any developer skills other than learning how to use GitHub to create a pull request. So because no code is required, it's a documentation change. So long as you can work with a bit of Markdown, which is what we would expect to find in GitHub, README documentation and wikis and what have you, anyone should be able to say, I like this project that deb-get supports. I'm going to add documentation to this project to explain how to install and update this software using deb-get. And what I thought I'd do is, because we can't be certain that the other projects are doing Hacktoberfest, we'll have a mechanism of recording in deb-get itself who has contributed merged documentation changes, and I can attribute the pull requests to that so that people can earn their Hacktoberfest points. So that's what we're going to do. It might require the use of the thinking channel point redemption, because I'm going to have to write words, and words don't come easy on a Friday morning, so that might require more thought than I'm prepared to put in. So that's what we're going to have a go at. And also, hopefully everything's working. You will see I'm back here in the lodge, having done a few streams at home. I've come in here, updated everything, and I'm running OBS Portable. So this is like the proof that this OBS Portable idea for Ubuntu is actually a good idea that works. So I had to do a little bit of massaging to my OBS configuration, only choosing what the default mic source was and changing the camera sources. Other than that, it's the same one. It's synchronized over what's it called, sync thing between the two locations. And also, for those of you that follow along, you might remember that I also have a YouTube gaming channel, which I haven't done anything with for a long time because we kind of moved everything to Twitch. Well, I'm going to be doing some experiments on YouTube, particularly gaming experiments on YouTube. And it's also sort of a place to do some streaming testing. So if you know where my Wimpy's World of Linux Gaming, I think it's called, is, go and subscribe. So I think it's youtube.com/Wimpy's World of Linux Gaming. I've got some crazy stuff I've been setting up at home, and at some point this weekend I'm hoping to do some test streams over there, but it will be unlike anything you've seen me do before. So I'm again like experimenting with OBS and streaming, so I'm going to be doing it over there. Thank you very much, Yannick, for sharing that link in chat. So there's something going on over there, and it's kind of an experiment, but also I want to be able to play some games from time to time. I don't want to do that here on this channel or the Wimpy's World YouTube channel, because these channels are pretty much now all about like making projects and having fun with software and hardware. So I'm going to keep the gaming stuff siloed, but I'm going to be doing a very different kind of game streaming to what I've done before over there. So I'll just leave it at that, because I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to probably fall on my face either tonight or Saturday night trying to do something over there. Right then, I see people are using all of the things. It looks like all of the chatbots are working. That's all good. Yeah, I haven't implemented any of those useful commands yet, Esme. That's on my to-do list. So that's a good question. So Yannick asks, where does game development fit then? Here. So I am going to be getting into some game development. I've got I'm out of the country on a couple of occasions coming up soon. So I think I'm going to stream Monday, Wednesday next week. Then I'm out for a week. And then I'm back for a week and then out for a week. So it's all a bit complicated. So I think I'm going to start working on some game dev stuff in mid-November. So about a month from now, I'm going to start doing some game dev stuff with Godot, because I've got burning ideas in my pockets that I want to work on. So yeah, Esme, I know they're absent. I did work on some that were missing the other day. I forget what they were, but you know. Anyway, it looks like OBS Portable's working, so that's good. So Charafu asks whether I'm going to be working with Godot 3 or 4. I think it would be sensible to do Godot 4. I am somewhat familiar with Godot 3. I did a whole project with, I did a game jam last year with Godot 3.2, I think it was, something like that. And I recently did a couple of experiments with Godot 3.5. And there's been a bunch of stuff from Godot 4 like backported to some of these 3.0 releases. But for what I want to work on, I definitely want the new tile set manager in Godot 4, which has not been backported. So while I'm not familiar with Godot 4, I think it would be sensible for me to start with it. And initially I've got some just some things I want to implement as like standalone bits of code, like parts of a game, if you like, and some small mini games, just to sort of work with some of the features of Godot to learn things. Like I want to get more capable with like the particle engine and make sure I properly understand the tile set tooling, make sure I correctly understand how to do resolution scaling and things like that. So I've got a couple of things where I want to figure out how to do stuff, but I've got 2 like full game ideas. But I need to go through the process of getting fluent again with Godot, because it's been over a year since I've done anything serious with it, and I really only had it in my head for a month. I learned Godot for about a week and then did a 2-week game jam, and I haven't done anything since until about a month ago. I sort of did a few side projects just to test some stuff. But anyway, oh, here we go. So community poll, Yannick says, would you prefer to see a Flutter remake of Arkanoid or Bombjack? So that's tricky for me. Bombjack is my favourite arcade game ever. It's excellent. I absolutely love it. It has something to do with the fact that I was amazing at Bombjack when I was a teenager, but I love that game. So whilst I would love to see it, if you butcher it, I won't be happy. So Arkanoid might be a safer choice. But Bombjack is an arcade classic in my opinion. Is my music is a little too loud? Is it? I can barely hear it myself, but I can turn it down. Can anyone else just let me know if the music's too loud? Or maybe my mic isn't loud enough. Is it that? I mean, that's the other thing I can tweak. Yeah, my mic looks a little bit quieter here. Maybe that's... Yeah, Bombjack is also going to be the most tricky of the 2. So start with something simpler then, in which case, Yannick, that's that slightly quieter than the music. Okay, let me boost the mic slightly. That won't take a sec. Let me just go and deal with that. This is one of the drawbacks of being in a different location. The audio dynamics are slightly different. Let's think, what do I want to do? I want to go in here. We'll give that another... Oh, that's going to take forever. Let's... Okay, there. Now, hopefully my microphone volume is a bit more acceptable. Just let me know if that's okay or if I've overcooked it. If that has combated the volume of the music. Sounds better. Okay, thank you, Noob of the Linux. I'm going to have to figure out how to normalize the volumes in 2 different locations. I'm sure I can figure that out. Oh, I can turn that off now. There we go. Right then. Thank you, Tommy. Welcome. Good morning. Voice of an angel indeed. I don't think so. Not unless it's a fallen angel. Right. So let's have a look here. Just looking through here. Is it going to be a webget? Is that what the question was? So let's see. I saw Takov asked a question. So Takov says, is it going to be exported for web? The answer to that question is yes. The game jam entry I did last year, I exported it obviously to Linux, to Windows, to Mac OS. I even wrote like the DMG maker thingies for Mac OS, an Android APK, WebAssembly for the web, which I recently tinkered with in order to get it working with the new PWA support that's in Godot 3.5, which is obviously means on iOS you can add it to your home screen, all that sort of stuff. And I'd like to figure out how to export it to iOS as well. So this is one of the mini projects is going to be, as a developer using Linux, how do I export to all these other places, and sort of creating the tooling to do that, some of which I have because I created it a year or so ago. Hello Cassie Dev, welcome back, good morning. Right then, so Charafu says, are you going to pay the $99 a year to upload it to the App Store? So one of the things I want to learn how to do is publish a game to all of the places. Now I realize, like, little side, like testing projects, that's not useful. I do have Little Spy, which is the game I made in the Game Jam last year, which is not terrible. I mean, it is like a 5-level Game Jam game, but it is a game. So I thought I might take that and figure out how to publish that to different stores, because I want to know how to do the publishing process on Steam. I know how to do it on itch because that's where I published the game like last year, and I stuck it in the Snap Store as well. But I'd like to know how to stick it in the Windows Store and the Mac Store, and because this is a learning experience, then yes, I'm prepared to sort of dip into my pocket and pay some money to figure out how I get it in the Apple stores as well. I know nothing at all about publishing games to the Apple stores, but why not learn? And why not do it here? So that's something I want to have a look at. I'm not going to look at all of this all at once. I've got lots of other things, like, Yannick was saying, Bomb Jack would be a trickier game to make than Arkanoid. I've got a very big idea for one kind of game, and there was another game that I loved on the Commodore 64 in the arcades, which is a much simpler game but has some challenges because I don't know how to implement some of the algorithms, even though it's a 8-bit, 16-bit era game. But I'd like to make that because the scope of the game is very constrained. So I'm going to try and concentrate on some mini games, but I want to try and think of some games that would translate to mobile as like casual games that are just experiments. So people are telling me that publishing to Apple is hard work. Okay, well, I will have. I want to learn. I just want to learn. I'm just curious. In the back of my mind, I have this crazy plan. I started out with sort of, in air quotes, professional computing as a game developer when I was a teenager. And as I approach retirement, I'm thinking I quite like the idea of retiring and being an indie game developer in retirement. So that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to think about this now. I'm not thinking about becoming a significant published game developer, but I think I'd like a few projects to keep my mind alive whilst I'm sitting in the garden drinking gin and tonics all day. Right, okay. Well, there's some Godot and game dev talk. Yeah, Charafu, I realise that there's kind of an oxymoron. How can you be retired and an indie game dev? But I think maybe being retired and an indie game dev is probably the match that works. There's no pressure. Right then, let's get into this. So we're going to go to deb-get. I have not learnt Rust yet. Pete has. So we stream on Slim DevOps. We streamed last night, so that's here as well. Let me do the correct things here. So that's where we stream for work. We did a Hacktoberfest thing on that stream last night, and we're going to be doing a number of little Hacktoberfest projects in the Slim community, so you can go to slim.ai join the Discord there. We've got some little projects that we're working on with Docker extensions and stuff. Right then, let's go and see if we can do this thing. So we're not going to be making a new release of deb-get because Nathan has been working on this extremely hard and has now started to merge. In fact, it's nearly done. So he's been merging some stuff to move to a new sort of internal structure for the project. So this idea I have does stand alone. So when we look at the README for deb-get, we have here a big old list of the projects that deb-get supports. So that means you can deb-get install any of these and it will do the right thing. And these icons here denote whether this package is installed via the GitHub releases page or via their own apt repository, which is what the Debian logo represents, or via a PPA, which is what the Launchpad logo represents, or if it's published as a direct download on their website. So I'm thinking that anything that's got a GitHub logo is something where we could update documentation in those projects to say, if you're on Ubuntu or Debian, you can use deb-get. So the idea is to create some boilerplate for that and do that today. So let's start looking at this. We'll go to Gitkraken to start with. I think I'm all up to date here. I can get rid of all of these because these are where I did a big sync thing update, and I know that those are all fine. So we'll just discard 5 files, delete those. There we go. So we'll create a new branch here. Sadly, I don't have the lighting effects in this office, and there's no obvious way for me to address that. So I'm thinking of some camera effects to use to kind of do some of the same stuff. Right then, we're going to create a new branch. We'll call this mini event. Okay, so now we've done that, let's go over here. We're in the right place. So the idea is, if we look at what markdown files we've got, rejections, readme, contributing. Let's just look at each of these. Yeah, okay, we don't need to do anything fancy. This will do just fine. Okay. So we'll create a new readme called Hacktoberfest 2022. There we go, and we'll edit that file. So what I want to capture in here is like what we're going to do. So we're going to have some sections for, let's start with the title. So we're going to need to do some submit a PR. I'm just putting some placeholders in for what I want to capture here. We want like the rationale for this. We want a bit for something to track the progress. So we'll call this something like merged pull requests, something like that. Hey, Ascertainment, how you doing? Good morning. Oh, interesting. So Yannick, you've aced the publishing to the Apple Store stuff then. I'll have to pick your brains. It's convenient that I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll buy you a beer and you can tell me all the secrets. Right, yes, it's going well. We're just going to create a little project here. So I suppose the other thing we could do is, how can we list everything? Let's do deb-get. In fact, let's do deb-get pretty list grep GitHub. Would that do it? I think we need to do github.pin. We'll actually filter the list accordingly. Yeah, that'll do it. Wow, there's a surprising amount of them. So, let's do that and then pipe. So what I'm doing is I want to just quickly generate a list of projects that might work. So if we then grep for HTTP. Oh. No, he didn't like that. Why not? Oh, we don't need to do that, do we? We could then do a cut. Let's cut it based on the opening brace and do F2. Oh, silly boy. Okay, but why is this not doing what I... Oh, there we go. That's got it. Control-C that, and then we'll I'm just looking at these URLs. Okay. And then we'll cut on the closing brace and do the first field. That should give us the list of all of the GitHub projects. Oh, that didn't quite do what I expected it to do. I've done the wrong brace. There we go. Right, let's try that. Yep, thank you, Nuno. I get there in the end. So these are the projects that are applicable. So let's grab that. Wow, that's more than I realised. Let's do a place and replace HTTP with that and replace all. There we go. That's now a list of bullet points. And these are okay, submit a PR, applicable projects. These projects are hosted on GitHub and already supported by deb-get. Choose one. There we go. So that's that bit sort of kind of fleshed out. You get the idea, right? List of apps. Yeah, so that's what the idea, Nuno. So Nuno says list of apps and a template. So yeah, the idea is that I'll say these are the projects that you can, contribute to because we already support them, and I'm gonna create an example of create your pull request that adds these words to their install documentation. So that's the idea, and then anyone can come along. And then the idea is that we have, as people's things get merged, they can submit a pull request to this readme file, this markdown file, that strikes the name off the top, off the list here, and adds a link to a merged pull request. And then I can tag that in this project and make sure at least somewhere, at least once, they get their Hacktoberfest, magic internet points. So rationale, I think we'll just move up here, and we'll do submit a PR. So here we'll have something like template documentation change. Right then. Oh, I see it. I tell you what, yeah, you need to start doing some Flutter streams again. There's clearly an audience for it. So, Hacktoberfest mini event. Let's just get the appropriate things in there. Let's think. This is where I need to think up words, and I can't talk, think, and write all at the same time. It's a bit like patting your head and rubbing your tongue.
Thank you for the follow, Dmitry Maximov Galera.
Wow, that is the name. Wow, there. Welcome, Dmitry. Thank you very much for the follow. Thanks for stopping by. So we're running a Hacktoberfest mini event. The idea is simple. Land documentation in projects that deb-get already supports, that explains how Debian and Ubuntu users can install and update. Let's just say update. Installed and update what? That explains how Debian users can install and update the packages published by those projects. Okay. We'll use this. Let's call it document to provide a template for submitting pull requests and tracking which pull requests were successfully merged. Success. Let's try and spell correctly. There we go. So, submit a pull request. Let's call this process or something. Process. I don't know. Let's call it process at the moment. So we're going to have fork this repo. We're going fork project. Submit doc change to there to the appropriate documentation, usually readme.md. submit pull request to the project when they fork deb-get How do we want to do this? Do we want to do two? We only want to do this once. When, I think we'll do it like this. So we'll say when the project merges your documentation change, fork deb-get, submit a pull request to this document.
Thank you for the follow, Venom _.
Hello Venom, welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. So then we'll submit a pull request to this document, adding a link to the merged pull request. And maybe we could probably make an issue in here, couldn't we, to reference, so we could add the Hacktoberfest mini event as an issue in this project, and then in the process it could be when you submit your PR, tag that issue. Is that a good idea? Because then people would at least see that someone's submitted something upstream. Okay, let's have a look. Yannick says, what kind of black magic would be necessary to have deb-get run once a day and display a desktop notification if there are updates available? That sounds pretty straightforward to me. Submit that as an issue on the project, as a feature you'd like to see. That would be a good one. That's definitely something we could probably knock together on a stream sometime soon. That sounds entirely doable. I think a systemd user unit and a little thing that uses notify bin should be quite straightforward, I think. I'm in the habit of using deb-get on a daily basis. Usually the first thing I do when I sit at my machine in the morning is deb-get update. See, because that then tells you if there's anything in the main system updates and in deb-get to update. So it's the first thing I did here today was update everything. Right then, fork the project, submit a change to the appropriate documentation, usually readme. I think we'll add a subpoint here. Changes to wikis will also be accepted here, because I think some projects have like their install stuff in wiki pages. Changes to this is the process for submitting a documentation change to a GitHub project. Now we'll say that said, landing documentation for deb-get in any project is also gratefully. It doesn't like that. Be appreciated and acknowledged. By this mini event. Okay. So what have I missed? Have we got this here? So template of documentation change. So these projects are hosted on GitHub and already support GitHub. They are good candidates for this mini event, but do check the project's pull requests to make sure someone else hasn't already beaten you to it. Right, okay, so thank you, Yannick, that's great. So this is the basic idea. So let's create the template documentation. So that was going to be, let's just write the words to start with. So we could do something like this. We could do it all inside. Mark, can we do that? I think we can. So we'll do for users of Debian and Ubuntu, you can also install and update the deb packages we publish. I'm trying to write this in as a generic a language as possible, so that people can just pick this up and drop it into any project without having to like do any string replacements and stuff like that. So for users of Debian and Ubuntu, you can also install and update the deb packages we publish in our GitHub releases using deb-get. So we can say something like first install deb-get. Well, this is where I'm going to run out of rope, isn't it? So that will be these steps here. So we'll just do curl blah blah blah. Maybe I'll just do 1 2 3 4. That'll do it. That's how we can work around that limitation. Okay. And then we can say, then install. We have a first string replacement. Then install project. Install using the following. First install deb-get. In the terminal. Then install project using the following in a terminal. deb-get install, and then we'll have to do package name like so. Okay.
Thank you for subscribing, Ascertainment.
Wow, Ascertainment, thank you very much. That's very kind. I hope you enjoy your ad-free experience now. it's the main value add, I think. Thank you for that. That's very kind of you. Right then, let's have a little think here. So what's this then? So I think Nuno's correcting some language of mine here. let's have a little look. We've got some feedback here. So King Egypt asked a question. Let's just look at this. So can I add an optional feature to also perform an upgrade to, rather than just the notification? Otherwise it's just snapty. What? Perfect to leave running on it. Oh, so you do want it to, you want like an opt-in to auto upgrade as well. Is that what you're saying, King Egypt? So that's a bit more work, but doable. I was going to add a comment to, oh, so you're gonna add to Yannick's pool. Okay, that's great. If you do that, we can use that as a way to capture all of the ideas here. And then Nuno, who goes by WSL Corsair, says Debian and Ubuntu based distros. Oh yes, you are correct. You are correct. For users of Debian and Ubuntu based distributions, you can also install and update the deb packages we publish in our GitHub releases page using deb-get. Now what we'll do here is we'll make that one a link to the project. Like that. First install deb-get using these commands in a terminal. Then install project using the following command in a terminal. Once package name is installed, it can be kept up to date using deb-get update, deb-get upgrade. So, do you think those words capture the sort of thing we'd need to see in a documentation? Oh, we haven't got the right thing here, so let's go and grab this. I was thinking about actually making like a little wrapper for this as well.
Thank you for the follow, vpatel_live.
Well, thank you very much, vpatel. Welcome to the stream. So let's do this. Copy that. Plonk that in here. There we go. So I was thinking maybe publishing a thing, doing a short URL, like an official place, to negate the need to do this bit, but it's tricky, isn't it? Right then, I think that's correct. What do we reckon? For those of you that are familiar with deb-get, does this describe the flow? So we can just make this a bit neater. We're running Hacktoberfest mini event. The idea is simple. Plan documentation in projects that deb-get already supports, that explains how users of Debian and Ubuntu based distros can install and update the packages published by those projects. We'll use this document to provide a template for submitting pull requests and tracking which pull requests were successfully merged. Let's do some emoji because we like emoji. Emoji makes things better. Documentation. Ooh, that's the strongest emote ever. Let's do that one instead. There we go. Explain how users of Debian and Ubuntu based distros can install and update packages published by those projects. We'll use this document. Okay, this is the process for submitting fork, the project you want to contribute to, submit a change to the appropriate documentation, usually README. Changes to wikis will also be accepted here. Submit a pull request to this project. Oh, to submit a pull to the project. When the project merges your documentation change, fork this deb-get repository. Submit a pull request to this document, adding a link to the merged pull request. Okay, so that's the idea. How are we doing here? Let's just, I see chat's got busy again. Maybe a bit more. Let's have a look here. What's Nuno suggesting? Maybe a bit more specific about the upgrade. I should listen to you very carefully, given that you are a tech writer by trade. This is not my strong suit. Nuno. No, I don't. deb-get in this case, deb-get upgrade doesn't do the update bit. They are distinct. And deb-get upgrade. Can you do deb-get upgrade a specific package? I can't remember. Let's find out. Oops. Let's do this. Let's close that window. Gosh, go away, Windows. There we go. Let's just check because I can't remember how my own software works. So let's come down here, clear that, and do deb-get upgrade. Something I'm not using at the moment that I can remember the name of. Sift. Yeah, so deb-get upgrade doesn't do discrete updates, but it's probably a good idea for something we could add. But thank you for thinking this through. What else have we got here? So if not using other punctuation, remove the have I got punctuation missing? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you. This is pair programming via the internet. I love it. Hello, Graham. How you doing? Got to go. Okay, Phil. Thanks for stopping by. You get the idea anyway. Right. I think maybe as like a first draft, this is probably good enough, right? So these projects are hosted on GitHub and are already supported by deb-get. They're good candidates for this mini event, but do check the project's pull requests to make sure that someone hasn't already beaten you to it. Okay, so this is then a list of the projects and merge pull requests. As your pull requests get merged in the upstream projects, add a link to the project to the pull request below, and we'll track the changes and attribute the changes in our Hacktoberfest event. So I think that'll do it. think that'll do it. What do we reckon? Maybe what I need to do is get this published, get this pushed. I kind of like the idea of having an issue tracker, an issue that we could tag. So let's go and do that. Let's go and make an issue. So we'll do this feature request desktop notification. We'll just give this some label. Oh, I'm not logged in. Gosh, I tell you, you don't use a computer for a few days, and you get signed out in all places, don't you? Right then, why does this happen? Right, every time I log into GitHub now, I get this, and every time I say no, use two-factor authentication and use this thing for future logins, and it never honours it. I've already done this once this morning, logged into GitHub, ticked this box, and it, like, what is the point of having this thing remind me to do drives me mad. Anyway, I've just had to switch to another display because I've got the authentication code open, so let's just do that. Oh, hello, yeah, that worked. There we go. Right then, so we'll just say this is an enhancement. It's a good idea. There we go. So let's create an idea. So Graham's asking, that is damned annoying, isn't it though? And the answer to your question, Graham, here is, have you recently installed the GH mobile app? Not recently. I have it installed. It has always been on my iPhone, which I got 13 months ago. And prior to that, I had that app installed on my Android phones previously. So I've had it installed for some time, and I do use it. But it's like, don't ask me every time. Like, if I've ticked that down box, stop asking me. I'm not going to start fragmenting where I keep my authentication tokens just because you've got a feature in your mobile app. I mean, of all the things to copy from Valve, this is not one of them, in my opinion, because the fact that their authentication codes only live in their mobile app is just beyond mental to me. Right then. Anyway, rant over. Let's get back to this. So let's create a new issue called Hacktoberfest mini event. Hacktoberfest 2022 mini event. Okay, we can probably just delete all of this text, and we're using this issue to help monitor progress and activity for our deb-get mini event Hacktoberfest 2022. So what does King Egypt say? It's so they can link your mobile number to your accounts and farm information to sell. I'm pretty sure they already have my mobile phone number, because I think it was one of the fields I had to complete to use GitHub Pro, I think. So there's no good reason for it, in my opinion. I mean, I know what's going on. They're doing that thing where they're just constantly coercing you deeper into their ecosystem. Create more links to things that are free and add value so that you can't do without them. This is the trick, but I'm not having it. Right then, we're using this issue to help monitor progress and activity. Help monitor activity. Let's just call it activity for our deb-get mini event, Hacktoberfest. you can find the details for the event here. And that will simply be, what did we call the doc? What was it? Hacktoberfest 2022.md, I think. Think that will work or something. There we go. Right. Yes, the Apple way indeed. Right then, so let's do this thing. So that will probably do it actually. So let's give it a label. The label here is documentation because it's upstream, and this is, I'm going to tag that. It's not technically that, but it's fine. I don't think we need anything else. That will do. So activity tracker. There we go. Activity tracker. So if we submit that issue, that won't work yet, but we now have an issue number we can reference in here. So where do we say but do check the project's pull requests and our mini event activity tracker to make sure someone hasn't already beaten you to it. So there we go. There we go. That's how we can use that. And then we'll say in here, when we submit a pull request, submit pull requests to the project and reference our mini event activity tracker. There we go. So I think that's probably loops it all together quite nicely. Good morning, McPhail. How the devil are you? Let's have a look here. Not sure about that, but there does seem to be an effort to add friction to... What's this? Oh, I see. Yeah. Yes, I was just having, I don't know if you saw it, McPhail, I was just ranting about GitHub always telling me to use their mobile app every time I two-factor auth, even though I use, you know, a 2FA app. I use Authy, by the way. I don't know what everyone else is using for their two-factor accounts, but I've been round the houses over the years, and I landed on Authy about a year ago, and I absolutely love it. It's great. It has a desktop client for Linux and iOS and Android devices, and it synchronizes, so you can it does like peer-to-peer synchronization of your tokens. So it means that, you know, I've got it here on my phone, my wife has it on her phone, because we've got tokens that we share for different things as well. So it means that if the worst thing happens and I lose the phone or drop it, smash it, whatever, whilst we're on holiday, then I know there's at least two other devices that have actually got all of those tokens on it. So I can't do a... No, I'm not going to say that. I don't want to cast aspersions. But I can't do what some open source developers have claimed in the past and claim that they don't have keys to the kingdom anymore. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Hey, Gary. Yeah, I didn't start using it because of Twitch. I think I started using it when I switched to iPhone. I started using it because the client that I was using, that exact client, wasn't available. So I was looking for something that worked on iPhone and worked on Android, because I'd still got Android tablets. And I found Authy, and the benefit was there's also, you know, a Linux client as well. So that's pretty great. Right then, into Bitwarden. Yes, you can use, you know, services like that as well. I like to, so I use LastPass rather than Bitwarden, but I don't want to put my two-factor auth keys in LastPass where all the other credentials are. I've deliberately kept those two things separate from one another. So yeah, right, okay, so this is the idea, right? I've read that through a few times. It might be there's some typos and things in here, but hopefully, as your pull requests get merged, yes, here we go, in the upstream projects, add a link to the pull request below and we'll track the changes. So we can track the changes in our Hacktoberfest mini event and award your magic internet points to Hacktoberfest. Right, we'll put the jack-o'-lantern in here. And what can we have for magic internet points? We'll just have something like this. There we go. There we go. Right then. I think that's probably good enough to get us started, right? So let's do that. Let's hop over to the mighty Git Kraken. We should just have this one change, which is this one. And we will say stage that file, add Hacktoberfest 2022 mini event documentation. I think we just do, let's see now, what was it? It was one of these. 579. Oh, I'm in the wrong app. There we go. 579. Commit that. Put in these magic symbols, and then we'll submit that as a pull request. There we go. Lumi code, Bitwarden TOTP handler for me. Yeah, I've got a lot. If it wasn't, I do keep thinking about switching everything over to Bitwarden, and I should have done it like a couple of years ago. And the reason I'm not doing it is, I eventually, I suppose maybe a bit over a year ago, I got my wife like fully committed to using LastPass, and she's fully on board with it. Like after years, took like 10 years, but she's fully on board with it now, and uses it for everything. And it's like, you know, an amazing moment for me, because now, every time she logs into a website, she doesn't just immediately go to the "I've forgotten my password" link on the login form, which is literally how she got by for like the last 10 years. It's unbelievable. So she's using LastPass, and I don't want to change because she gets really irritated with me when I teach her something new and then I change it. And her resistance to using LastPass is, well, you'll just change this. You know, what's the point? So I never did, and now she's using it. I'm like, right, I can't really change it now, otherwise I'm just going to prove her right again. So I'm just happy where everything is in there now, including her stuff. So yeah, that's my resistance to changing. I should have foreseen this. So we're going to main, add the mini event documentation, that's all good, and create the pull request. And then we'll go back to the project. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen again. There we go. Oh, so we've got one of those, and now hopefully if I reload this, should be, there we go, got a reference already. So this is what I'm hoping is, as people reference this issue in like the other projects, it should serve as a placeholder for I'm working on adding documentation for this project. So let's go and merge this pull request. And Nathan, who's really doing a lot of the hard work on deb-get at the moment, asked me earlier, like, am I going to do a new release of deb-get? And I was like, no, I'm not. And also, the change for this mini event doesn't like clatter any of the other work that's going on in deb-get, so it can stand alone. It's easy to do, and doesn't break anything. So I don't know if I can review my own changes here. I can't remember how I configured it. I think maybe I can. No, I can't. Yeah, so I'm just going to YOLO this one. It's a shame you don't get extra YOLO points for that, because I do this quite a lot, which is probably not great. So we'll rebase and merge this. There we go. And confirm. So that's merged. We'll delete that branch. We don't need that laying around. And we will go back to the issues. And we will go here. So we can see that. And hopefully if I click on this... No. So I need to change that URL because it's inside an issue. So I need to change it to that. So we will go and make a change. Oops. That's in the issue. We need to make a change though, isn't it? Right. So in the issue itself, I've also realised that this is a good first issue, and we will edit this and change this bit to that update. And now when we click this, it actually takes us to the README. There we go. Right then, how are we doing there? So yeah, just out of interest, Gary, what are you? So Gary goes by RW Grimm. For those of you that haven't heard this information before, Gary is one of my co-hosts, one of the co-hosts on Linux Downtime. He's the lead developer of Pigeon, and he streams here on Twitch, and I've just put the shout out to Gary's channel in the chat. And this is the Linux Downtime podcast. So, best Linux podcast in the world. If you've not got that in your podcatchers, then head over there and grab that. Gary and I do that with Joe Ressington and Hayden Barnes. So, yeah, there we go. All plugs done. So, thanks for stopping by, Gary. It must be late where you are. Did you stream earlier, or have you just been up tinkering? Right then. I think we've got it right. That's kind of it. So, the question is, who's going to be the first person to submit a documentation change to an upstream project? I don't expect that to happen like live on stream, because we've literally just done this. But I think we've got this. So maybe what we should do is put something at the top of the README to signpost this thing. So that's probably a good idea, isn't it? Let's do that. Right then, let's just grab this text, doink doink doink, copy that, and go to the README, go to the very top, paste this in, Hacktoberfest, let's do this, and then we'll do something like find out more here. Not quite sure how to word this. Let's do something like deb-get. Oops. Oh gosh, Martin, honestly, talk about making life difficult yourself. Let's do that and deb-get Hacktober 2022 mini event participation guide.
Mike's the Pick is raiding with a party of 2.
Oh, hey! Hello, raiders. Welcome to the stream. How you all doing? Hey, Mick. Is it Mick? Mike? Mick's the Pick. What were you doing on your stream? We're just we've got a project that I work on here called deb-get, and we're creating a Hacktober mini event for it. So we've just put together like a participation guide. I can't spell. I need to change my prescription on my glasses. Participation guide. There we go. Developing an ML model based on really on RN noise. I tell you what. I'm gonna go and right click that. Can I? Hang on a minute. I'm just gonna switch. In fact, I've opened your thing in another. I'll go and follow in just a moment. In fact, I think I can do this. I'm just gonna do this and hit a quick follow, because whatever you're doing with audio sounds like fun. So, as I was just saying a moment ago, obviously I stream, but Gary, who's here, goes by RW Grim. He and I are on a podcast together with a couple of friends of ours, so we care about audio stuff. So that sounds like interesting stuff. So for a plugin, even better.
Thank you for the follow, Mike's the Pick.
Hey, so this segue is really nice. Can you post if you've got it up on source control anywhere yet, or is it just sitting locally? If you've got it in GitHub, GitLab, whatever, post a link in the chat, because I also make OBS Studio portable builds for Ubuntu, but I build from source inside that like distribution of OBS a whole boatload of plugins. There's over 40 plugins baked in, all built from source for multiple versions of OBS on multiple versions of Ubuntu. It's what I'm using now. If you've got better RN noise plugins, I want it. I really, really want it. So yeah, if you've got links, please send links. I'd love to have a play with that. Right then, it's basically you hacking coefficients into the upstream repo. Okay, nice one.
B7H30 is raiding with a party of 10.
Wow, hello raiders. This doesn't that's two raids in one day. That's never happened before. This is brand new. So thanks.
573,918.
Thanks very much for the raid. So what were you doing on your stream, B7H30? I was just explaining. We just had a raid like moments ago from Mix the Pick. So he's doing interesting stuff with OBS Studio plugins for RN noise enhancements, which is pretty cool. I'm working on, we're just finishing up a participation guide for one of our projects here called deb-get as like a Hacktoberfest mini event. So that's what I've been doing today. You've been working on Vim, as in working on Vim itself. Is that what you've been doing? Or using Vim? Learning Vim. Okay. The very fact you have to learn Vim is one of the reasons why, after nearly 30 years, well, probably 30 years of using Unix and Linux, I've never bothered with it. Yeah, let's have a look here. So 573918. Wow, what a username. are you creating Hacktoberfest? So, well, not creating Hacktoberfest, but it is a mini event for one of our projects. Let me show you. On the browser here. So we've created an issue in our issue tracker for our Hacktoberfest 2022 mini event activity tracker right here. And it says we're using this issue to monitor activity for our deb-get mini event for Hacktoberfest 2022. You can find the details for the event here. So this is what we wrote up. This is like the participation guide. So it explains what the project is, how you participate, even gives you some template language to use in your pull requests, and then a list of projects that are good candidates to target, and then somewhere where we can track like who successfully landed stuff. So that's the sort of the scope of it. Maybe we need some words under here to explain change project and package name accordingly. So I think we'll update that in a second. So that's what I've been doing today. It's just what I wanted to do was raise the awareness of deb-get, a bit further. And one way to do that is to land documentation in projects where deb-get is adding value. So deb-get already supports a whole bunch of projects in GitHub releases pages, and by landing these documentation changes in those projects, it improves the user experience for users of that software on Debian and Ubuntu if they've got a nice way to install and keep updated the software that they're interested in. So that's what that's kind of the purpose of this little thing here. So to get back to B7H30, I use Nano when I'm using an editor in a terminal, and the reasons for that are very simple. When I started with Unix, the email client that we had back then was Pine, and the editor for Pine was the Pico editor. And due to a licensing kerfuffle in the late 90s with Pico, Nano was kind of created as a compatible alternative to Pico, and because the Nano key bindings are hardwired into my brain, or sorry, rather the Pico key bindings are hardwired into my brain, I've always used Pico and Nano throughout the whole time I've been using Unix and Linux. Except, of course, in a graphical environment, and some years ago now, when did VS Code first emerge? At least for 4 years, I think, I've been using Visual Studio Code as well as the editor on the
There
other
we
side.
go.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Now
Something's just...
I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit on this. Or actually just...
There we go. Something picked up in the back. I think that was Mix the Pick stream kicking off in the background. So yeah, there you go. There's a little history lesson on how I came to be doing that stuff. So let's go back to here very quickly. We'll copy the link out of this issue here. Copy the link address, and we'll paste that in to this here. So now we should have at the top of the README for the project, we'll do something like this. We want you well, that'll do. There we go. So we'll quote those words there, and we'll look at that. So if we just save that and just look at that in a preview here, just to make sure that looks fine. There we go. So this is now at the top of the project. So in fact, what we can even do is, for the purposes of making it flow a bit nicer, we'll just do this, which is a bit rubbish, but that should look a bit better. There we go. mini event participation guide. So we'll push that up as a change. Hello, QZ. I'm just going to go with QZ because there's a lot of other numbers after your name. My glasses aren't strong enough to read all of those out. So yeah, VS Code is pretty decent, and there are plugins or extensions, they're called, aren't they, to add Vim bindings to VS Code, which I know some long-time Vim users are very happy with as an option. So there is that as well. Right then. So I think we'll just head back to the mighty Git Kraken, and we'll just add this. We'll just YOLO this one. We'll just say signpost the Hacktoberfest mini event. Oh, let's try that again. Let's do edit that message, signpost, there we go, update that, and reset load. Go there, pull all of the upstream stuff, and then we'll cherry pick that one. Yes, and then push it. There we go. And there we go. Now we can delete that local one. There we go. Right, so if we go and look at the project now, we should have that at the top. There we go. Nice and clear. And then the rest of the project stuff is there. So there we go. We've signposted it. Mix the pick. I've often had to use Nano, but rarely been forced to use Vim. Yeah. So B7H agree. You come from a security background. Okay. Trying to understand some of the legacy editors. I've never felt, I mean, I did, one of the places I used to work at, it wasn't so long ago, it was about 6 years ago. So I used to do, you know, massive compute data center clusters, all that sort of stuff. And I kind of do that now, but that's not like, I'm not in an ops position. I just advocate for best practice and stuff. And there was a problem. We'd got like, you know, the whole bunch of services down. So, you know, I get called in to take a look. So I'm poking around, you know, I've logged in and I've got like most of the rest of the team stood looking over my shoulder as I'm trying to sort of diagnose what's going on. And I go to edit some configuration file somewhere and I type, you know, nano name of file. And I heard one of the guys behind me just say, freak. For using nano, because they were like, you know, Vim or die. It was kind of their position on things. Right then. But I wasn't going to cave to that kind of peer pressure. So I've never felt like I need to get that badge of honor. Right. I think, have we achieved what we set out to do? We've got signposting at the top of the project. We have a document. Does that actually link to the right place? So if I click this, we end up at the right spot. That's good. And we have an issue here for tracking the activity. So I think the only thing I said we needed to change, which would just be a little bit better, is your chosen projects. goodness me, I really need to get the same keyboard in both offices because this is driving me. This is a US keyboard, and just the subtle change in key arrangement, it throws me off all the time. I really, really need to get the same keyboard in both places, but the problem is this one matches all my Star Wars stuff. And it only comes in a US keyboard arrangement, so I'm like, loathed to get rid of it because it matches the. If you haven't, well, you've seen there's a stormtrooper behind me. The whole office is full of Star Wars gubbins, so I'm putting up with it for that reason. Here's a template for the documentation change to submit to your chosen projects. Make sure you change project. What was it? Project. And package name accordingly in your pull requests. I think that describes it. What was that? You like the... Let me just switch back. You're talking about this here. Mix the... sorry, Lumicode. Is that Lumicode? This here. That is the top surface of the Audient Evo 4 audio interface. So what you probably can't see is out the back of this. This is where the XLR mic plugs in, and I take the audio feed out to the Bluetooth transmitter that transmits the audio to my ears. So this is a really nice audio interface. It's small, really good quality. I loves it a lot. I think this one's great. At home on my main workstation, I use the SSL2, which is an amazing audio interface, way more amazing than I need, but I love the big dials and things. And then I've just got M Audio Air 192-4 for a new streaming stroke audio workstation I'm working on. I literally got that yesterday, but my first impressions are that's great too. I love it. But I'll be so yeah, here look, every time I have to press escape, I get to poke Darth Vader in the eye. So yeah, there we go. That's a metal keycap there. So yeah, and I yeah, and at home I think I've got Batman logo on the escape key for no other reason than it matched the blue glow that I use on the home keyboard. But I've got a few of these keycaps up here. Let me just get up here. I think all of the spare ones I have here. Let's just have a look. Are they in here? Yeah, here we go. Here's a little selection. So I could have this one here, which is I don't know how well this is going to autofocus. I don't think it's going to autofocus at all, is it? That's a Stormtrooper helmet, metal keycap. Hopefully you can make that out. That's upside down. There you go. So there's that one. And then here I have a Death Star. So I had that one in for a while. And then I've got another. This one's a black Stormtrooper. And then there's the original escape key for the keyboard hiding in there. So yeah, Etsy is a dangerous place to scroll around because I always find little knickknacks like that on Etsy, and it's like, oh, I've got to have it. And you'll see here, I've got a Stormtrooper helmet there. I've got in fact, I think I can show this stuff off. Let's see if the technology works. Let's see. Right, we'll give this a go. we'll just close this up here. For those of you that haven't seen around here before, let's say do that, okay, and let's do this. There we go. Okay, so Inception. So here's my workstation. So you can see here we have a little Funko dark Star Wars character on the top there. I've got this angle poised lamp, which is a TIE fighter. That's the front of the case with the Stormtrooper. There's my 50th anniversary custom controller, and this is Darth Vader. He's my toolkit carrier, and that is actually the Pinewood Studios utility belt toolkit, which is Stormtrooper styled. And then up there I've got the the Death Star clock and some metal posters. And then up here behind the cameras and the microphones, so I've got some Stormtroopers up on the shelves there, some Empire, what they called, Death Star mugs, so from the Death Star canteen. I've got some other gubbins there. There's an R2-D2 there, there's a Stormtrooper carrying an old Spectrum, there's another custom controller there, and this, and then of course you've got this guy behind me. So there we go. That's some of the stuff I've got in the office. It's kind of happened by accident, but as I had some as you can see, mostly Empire related stuff, I decided to use that to decorate this office. Right then, how's this all going? I think we're in quite a good place, right? I was just making that last change, wasn't I? I got distracted by talking about Star Wars stuff. It's easy to distract me on that topic. Right. Okay, Mix the Pick. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again. Please do stop by when that. I'd love to know more. We've got a Discord, right? Hang on, Mix the Pick. Just wait 2 secs. So we've got a Discord. Loads of Linux nerds hanging out in there. I'd love to know more about what you've been working on. We've got a broadcasting channel, which is all to do with streaming and podcasting. If you could share details of where to find the code you've been hacking on, I'd love to have a play with it. So please do share. Right. Right then, where were we? We were changing something, weren't we? This. See you, noob of the Linux. Thanks for stopping by. Here's a template for documentation to submit to your chosen project. Make sure you change project and package name accordingly in your pull requests. I think that's all the words we need. Package name, package. Let's use the same thing here. And yeah, okay. Okay, right. Let's do that. Hit save. And we'll just push that up. That's a minor doc change. Oops, in the wrong place entirely. Who else here uses Gitkraken out of interest? Improve. Description for the mini event. No, yeah, it's great. Oh, of course. Well, actually, I don't know if it supports other source control platforms. What are you using, Gary? Was it Mercurial? I think you were using. I might be wrong about that. Graham, you like it hard mode. Just HG command line, right? Okay, but you are using Mercurial. I thought I'd got that right. Right then, okay, I think then, if we just have one last look at the project, which will be here. So if we open this, this should have a description of those things in there. It does. We think that that's going to be accurate because we sort of yanked it out of the pretty list. We've got a signposted thing at the top of the project. So I think we're good. And I've got the Hacktoberfest topic here. So I think we're golden. I think that job's a good one. Wonderful. Wow. I'm happy about that. I thought that would... well, I know it's taken about an hour because we were having a chat at the beginning, but that's all right. Hey, Adjuza, am I getting that right? Is that how we pronounce that? You like this? This is you'll see actually. You can. There's a command in chat. You can bring it up. If you see where the stats are, there. If you do bang music or bang Spotify in the chat, it will briefly display what the currently playing track is. I use all the Stream Beats music in my streams because, in fact, I might have to do this on stream one day. When I used to stream on YouTube, and then I switched to Twitch. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, 18 months ago. 2 years ago, maybe. But I've got a load of old streams on YouTube before Stream Beats existed. And I was using music services that were copyright free. And every single one of those live streams since then has got multiple copyright ID flags against them for music that was used like 3 years ago that isn't now copyright free because independent artists or whatever have been signed to music labels. And literally every single stream I did prior to Stream Beats existing has got multiple copyright flags in it. And every stream I've done with Stream Beats, which is now 2 years worth of streams, streaming multiple times a week, not one single copyright flag. So I know people will tell you about all of the others that exist. I'm just staying with Stream Beats. There's a good selection of music available that add new stuff all the time, and I just don't have to worry about getting copyright ID go off because I archive these live streams on YouTube. And as I said at the beginning of this stream, I'm about to start some crazy experiments on my YouTube gaming channel again. And I may not need Stream Beats much for that because, you know, game music and all the rest of it. But yeah, Stream Beats is good. I like it. It's been good. I like just having a little bit of a music bed. So on those moments where I have to think for a moment, it's not completely dead air. Mix the pick. Yeah, the broadcasting channel is the one to post in. I mean, you can post in chat if you like, but generally the broadcasting channel is where we keep all of the talk about like streaming and podcasting. Generally speaking, it's mostly streaming there these days. Oh, right, well, I think it might be time for another cup of tea soon. I also have a slice of lemon drizzle cake over there. So a cup of tea and a bit of lemon cake won't be bad. I need to hot-foot it home and work from home for the afternoon, I think. Yeah, I think that's the plan. What people got lined up for the weekend? Anyone doing anything fun? What am I doing this weekend? Definitely going to be playing some computer games with my daughter. That games PC we built on stream a couple of months ago, that has just been absolutely epic. So good, I built a second one. My daughter absolutely loves it. We're using Chimera OS on that now. So Gary has Earl Grey during stream. I don't like Earl Grey. I know I need to hand in my English card for saying that. I've never got on with Earl Grey. Very peculiar. I like standard issue Yorkshire tea. That's what I like. English breakfast tea for any hour of the day. And Gary, you're going to be carving pumpkins. Okay. With a tux stencil. No. Good luck with that. I don't think tux is going to be easy to carve. Have you done it before? That sounds tricky. You'll notice the channel points here I've branded as tux instead of bucks. I thought that works quite well. Yerba mate. Yeah, I do have a little bit actually. I do. So one of my colleagues I used to work with at Canonical, who lives in Argentina, he used to bring me mate when we went to the sprints, which we had twice a year. Now, of course, I left Canonical a year and a half ago, so my authentic supplies of mate are diminishing. You know, like I've now got them reserved for special occasions only because I don't have that much left now. So, Graham, that's quite good. I like that. Yeah. So Graham agrees that Earl Grey belongs down the sink. I mean, that's what it tastes like to me. It tastes like lukewarm used dishwater. It's got nothing going for it. So yeah, dregs down the sink. I completely agree. English breakfast tea. English breakfast tea is the way to go, Gary. Yeah. I love a good cup of proper tea. Yeah, I like mine brick red. We call it builder's tea. You know, not too much milk. Oh, get you! This is very sophisticated. Earl Grey with milk and a slice of lemon. So Gary's found some thumbnails, and so this is thumbnails of tux that you're looking to print and use as a stencil outline. Man, send us photographs. Send us pictures. Well, either tag me in your Discord or stick them in ours. I don't mind which. But I'd like to see how you get on. Actually, I suppose let's think about this. We're going to be away. So we're going to be back. Yeah. So I don't think we're going to be doing pumpkins because we're running to the sun for a few days. So I don't think there'll be any pumpkin carving. I was just thinking, do I need to think about getting pumpkins for my daughter? But we're just not going to be around. So I don't think it's going to be an issue for us. Yes, now here we go. So Paul is the official tea connoisseur of the channel. So Lapsang Souchong is the king of teas. Is that a Sri Lankan tea? I think I might be wrong about that. But I have had, I forget the name, but I've had a Sri Lankan tea at the Ritz, no less, for high tea, and it was one of the best cups of tea I've ever had. So Gary says they oh no, that's the wrong thing. Gary says they've not carved a pumpkin since they were a kid, so you're looking forward to it. I've done it a few times. Obviously having children is kind of the motivation for having done this. So I've got 7 nieces and my daughter, so I have carved pumpkins in recent history. I've also tried making pumpkin soup with my mother-in-law, and we were following this recipe and we made loads of it. We've got this massive pumpkin, it was huge, so we got loads of thing and adding the necessary spices and what have you to make this pumpkin soup taste nice. And it was so bland, but one of the ingredients in this to make the pumpkin soup sort of more palatable was Stilton. Anyway, we ended up putting almost a whole wheel of Stilton in this pumpkin soup to actually give it some flavour. So it was basically Stilton soup by the end of it. Good for dipping crusty rolls in. Roast some pumpkins. Oh, Gary's getting fully into it now. So what did Paul say? Oh, it's China. It's China is the origin. Okay, so Fujian, is that how we pronounce that? Province, China is the origin. So it's a proper Chinese tea. Okay. Smoky flavour. Well, there we go. Maybe we need to make this more of a feature, because I know Monica loves a cup of tea. You love a cup of tea. I've seen forgotten his first name. He's Caffeinated Linux on Twitch. I can't remember his first name. It's just escaping me at the moment. But I've seen him do live streams where he roasts, grinds coffee beans and does live streams of sort of fresh coffee making from time to time. Tyler is his first name, yes. I've met him a couple of times when I went to Linux Fest Northwest. He's a lovely guy. And I've seen him do this sort of, coffee stuff. I think maybe, doing something with tea. Not the whole stream, but, occasionally start a stream with, or maybe, tea of the week, something like that. I might think about doing that, actually. That's not a bad idea. Maybe, Paul, you can draw up a short list of a few teas I should source for tea of the week. This is not a money-making venture. This is just a bit of fun, because I always have a cup of tea with a stream. Right. Okay. Well, I think what I set out to do. Gary, you're suggesting, what's this now? We really need a Linux Fest Midwest around Chicago. Gary, are you going to KubeCon next week? Because are you in the Chicago area? Because I think, isn't it KubeCon's in Detroit? I think it's in Detroit. Which, I don't know, my geography's not great, but Detroit and Chicago in American terms are quite close, right? Because if you are, I could get you some invites. I'm not going myself, but I could get you invites to stuff. You're in Milwaukee. Okay. 90 miles north of Chicago. How far from Detroit is that? I have no idea. And Gary says... where is it now? Not Gary. Paul says, must do a site post with some of my favourite teas on it. Yes, if you do that, post a link to your blog, so I've got reference material. As much as I love my English breakfast tea, I am prepared to, try some new tea of the week. That'd be a fun little thing to do. Yeah, totally. Tetley, Yorkshire. Yeah, I'm. Here they provide the tea, and it's Yorkshire Gold, which I like a lot, and that was my one I used to buy at home. But not far from here is the Twinings tea factory, for want of a better word, and I've recently switched to Twinings English breakfast tea, and I just prefer that a little bit. It's not quite so bitter. It's just got the right balance. I really like it. There we go. So it's we're already getting into tea of the week. Tea of the week this week is Yorkshire Gold. Let's find a link. Let's find a link for those people who have no idea what we're talking about. Yorkshire Gold tea. They must have a website. Yorkshire tea. That looks like the very thing. Yorkshire Tea Gold. Here it is. How do I actually get a link to that page? Our teas. Oh, it's one of these. Right, I'll just have to link this. So here we go. This is the brand. It's a major sort of buy it in all the shops in the UK brand. They have Yorkshire tea, which is red label, or they have the gold label, and I highly recommend the gold label. So if you're outside of the UK and there's like an English, produce food brand supplier nearby, check out English Gold breakfast tea. It's great. No, I haven't. Is that this green one? Oh, this hard water. I'm just looking through them over here. In fact, why am I doing it over here? Let's do it in the... Let's do this. Let's... being dim. Right, let's bring up... yeah, sorry. I'm just getting utterly confused with my windows. There we go. There we go. So this is what I'm looking at. So this is the sort of the typical thing that people would get normally. So Taylor's Yorkshire Tea Red Label, and this is the one that I really preferred, Yorkshire Gold. So you say there's a toast and jam biscuit. Wow, that's a good idea. That tastes like biscuits? No way. So I'm not sure I'd like that, because one of my guilty pleasures, and I don't get to do this very often, is because I don't have much of a sweet tooth. I much prefer savoury things. But if you have, like I just said, I've got some lemon drizzle cake. The only time I can eat biscuits or cake is if I've got a fresh piping hot cup of tea. Eat the sweet thing and then really enjoy the cup of tea afterwards. So I don't think I'd want my tea to taste of biscuits. But this is what Graham was pointing us towards. The bedtime brew. So it's decaffeinated. You know what? I might get some of this, because my wife only drinks decaffeinated coffee and decaffeinated tea. And decaf tea, traditionally, I would say, is awful. So I'm prepared to try this, because I would trust that if anyone gets decaf tea right, it would be the Taylor's Yorkshire Tea. So Graham, thank you for the tip. I'm definitely gonna try that. I see Paul is alive with comments as well. Oh, we're well into Paul's sort of specialist topic here. So unsurprisingly, Paul is loose tea is the way to go. I do like some of Twining's herbal teas. I'm not a big fan of herbal tea. My wife likes herbal teas. I definitely don't like fruit teas. Again, I don't do sweet things. I don't have sugar in my tea or anything like that, for example. So yeah, thank you, Graham, for that hot tip. This is Teacast that we're into now. Right, I'm gonna look at that one. Thank you very much for that. And here we go. King Egypt says, don't do the toast and jam tea. Nobody liked it except for me, and that wore off after the third cup. Okay, so that was this one in the pink box, I think. So here we go. The advice, the user survey of 1 says, don't try this one. Does it taste of tea and jam, or is it just supposed to be had? Yeah, no. I don't like the sound of it. But thank you. I mean, I wouldn't have gone near it but yeah, interesting. Hello, Yannick. Welcome back. And Paul says he recommends Tea Direct is where to get your tea. So here we go. So this is great. Paul, when you find the time, do write up some of your favourites. I will go to Tea Direct and buy a selection, and then every so often we can do tea of the week. Because every morning when you show up, I always ask you what you're drinking. I've always got a mug of tea or two on the go. I think we should, fully indoctrinate our enjoyment of tea into the streams. Okay. How long does loose tea keep? That's a good question, actually. I bet Paul's going to say long enough that he finishes it before it goes off. Yeah, I think he's a keen tea drinker. But yeah, I don't think... Oh no, we do. We do actually have a teapot. But we use it as a gravy jug. I was just thinking, do we have a teapot? I don't think we do. We do, but we use it as a gravy jug. So I could make loose tea. So airtight in a jar, Paul says. Yeah. Welcome back, Nuno. We're doing a tea cast here. So actually, I'm going to get this one off the thing here. Let's just say reject all here. So we were just talking about tea. And there's lots of teas that some of us here enjoy, but we were saying for anyone outside of the UK that wants to give like a cup of tea a try and wants something good, we recommend Taylor's Yorkshire Tea, and this is what it looks like. You can buy it in the UK anywhere, but you may need to go to some sort of, English food purveyor or something outside of the UK. But if you find this, we highly recommend it. And we were just talking about integrating sort of tea recommendations into the stream somehow. Right then. Well, despite all of the tea chat, I think today's stream was a success. Unlike the last stream, which was deliberately sort of geared to be somewhat successful, because it was a sort of poking around a proof of concept. I haven't given up on that idea. And if you didn't see the last stream, this was using systemd containers for local development and CI/CD jobs. So I'm definitely going to return to that idea, because for myself, I can see value in creating a tool like that. So I'm definitely going to give it a go. But due to bugs, and it did turn out that some of the challenges I was facing were indeed bugs in systemd, specifically in machine control, I'm going to have to temporarily work around, but write my own little bits of integration code to work around bugs that exist in machine control. But I'm going to stay the course with this because I want to create architecture support, and yeah, I just want to do it. So that's definitely a project I'm going to be returning to, and I think I'll be doing that next week. So I'm going to be streaming Monday, definitely Monday, Wednesday. I may stream over the weekend. That might be on YouTube. So find all of my stuff on YouTube, youtube.com/Wimpy's World and youtube.com/Wimpy's World of Linux Gaming. I'm definitely going to try and stream there over the weekend, maybe even tonight, providing the gear that I've picked up from the cupboards here I can get working at home in time. And what's this here? So this is an interesting question. So King Egypt says, can you share GPUs with containers? The answer to that question is yes. In the past, I made a LexD container that installed Steam inside it, connected up the X and Pulse Audio sockets and what have you, and used the NVIDIA container runtime to effectively bind mount the NVIDIA user space from the host inside the container, so the ABI, my camera's defocused, so the ABI for the NVIDIA drivers was consistent with the kernel that's obviously shared with the host and the container. So I know that's possible. I've never done it with a systemd container. But that's one of the things, it's not specifically showing the GPU, but I want to use it for being able to test graphical applications in containers. Because we've got QuickEmu for VMs, but I'm interested in sort of, exploiting the container workflow. So I'm definitely going to look at that. And so I think that's something I'll look at. Let's think now. Next week is release week, isn't it? So I might do a stream. I've got a work stream on Thursday. So it should be the 22.10 release next Thursday. So I don't think I have any Ubuntu Mate stuff other than a bit of QA testing, which I don't need to do on stream. So I think I'm going to return to the machine spawn, as we called it, for Monday and Wednesday. See how far I can take that. Maybe get that in GitHub. So while I'm away, if anyone shows any interest in that and fixes stuff and improves it, then when I get back, we'll hopefully have some stuff to improve from that. Right then, hello Diogo. Diogo says, I believe there's a demo of LexD running Steam. Yeah, so what's interesting is there probably is. So that's Stefan Graber, who's the lead developer for LexD, and he did indeed create a LXD container that ran Steam, and unknowingly I had done exactly the same thing at the same time, and we'd done it in slightly different ways. So I think I used what's it called, Cloud Init, to stand up the LXD container and sort of drive all of the package installation and bind mounting of sockets, and he'd done it a different way, and I can't remember the details. In fact, I think I've got this. It may no longer work because this gist is, I'm going to say, 5 years old. But let's just in fact, let's do it the right way. Let's do it on stream. So let's go to my GitHub, and oops, that's the wrong button entirely. Let's go here. I think it's in here somewhere. Twitch, Stream Deck, Atoms, Butler, Hotshot Racing, Slides, Cinnabon, Preseed Snaps. Some of this stuff I should probably unpublish because it's not very. It's probably terribly broken. Somnia, Cubase. Oh. I thought... Oh, maybe it's actually in a repository. Maybe it's actually in a GitHub. So, let's just go... Let's just go here and do local game. Here it is. Okay, so how old is this? Okay, I updated it 2.5 years ago, but I created it 3 years ago. So here we go. Here's the thing here. So we've got this script called create container. So install LXD, create a profile. So this is the Cloud Init profile. And then it does all of these things, and it creates the container and stuffs Steam inside it based on Ubuntu 18.04. So there you go. And then somewhere in here there'll be some kind of reference to, because I found bugs. So yeah, this is NVIDIA capabilities thing. Where's the NVIDIA users? Because I actually found a bug when I did this, and I had to get some stuff fixed in. Ah, here we go. And this is why I was looking in here. This is Stefan Graeber's equivalent way of doing. Oh, you need to log in. So if you're an Ubuntu member, I'm not going to log in right now, but if you're an Ubuntu member, you can log in here, and you'll be able to see Stefan Graeber's. Basically the same sort of implementation, although we did the same thing but slightly differently. So NVIDIA runtime, true. Oh yes, that's right, Cloud Init. Here we go. So Cloud Init has this flag, NVIDIA runtime, which you can set to true, that automatically pulls in the NVIDIA runtime stuff inside the container and does all of the bind mounting magic for you, rather than having to do it yourself. So yeah, that's what I was looking for, because I know there's this NVIDIA container runtime thing. It's just magic. Magic does it for you here. So there you go. If anyone's interested in playing around, it's possible that still works to some extent. I didn't test it extensively, but there you go. If anyone's interested in following up on that idea, there's a thing for you. I'll just drop the link to this in the chat, so if anyone wants to play, they can. There we go. Good question though, Diogo. Yeah, or good observation. Yeah. So hopefully I've provided enough insight there on where to step off and go and experiment with that stuff. But what I'd like to get this machine spawn to be able to do that. You know, I think being able to run Steam, install games, run games with machine spawn would be an acid test of robustness for, you know, making and using local dev environments. between audio and the video. It's possible because I'm in a different location and I didn't check any of that stuff. So yeah, it's possible. I need to just give the one thing about having this synchronized, you know, the same thing in both places. It's wonderful. The only thing I need to think about is camera sources need to be changed between each place because my camera configuration here is very different from home. And although I'm using the same microphones, the audio interfaces are different. So the latency offset, I know from the past the latency offsets were slightly different. So I might need to create multiple audio sources for each location. No, I think that's the way to do it. Multiple audio sources for each location. And in my startup scripts, automatically enable and disable the source appropriate to where I am. I think that might be the solution. So yeah, that's just one of the little nuances I need to figure out. So yeah, it is possible it's slightly out. I am doing this with OBS. This is all running OBS Portable. This is synchronized with SyncThing. This is the exact same one I used at home. All I did was just went through, changed my camera and mic source, and I'm using the exact same thing. But I don't want to use a different configuration because if I make changes to like the scenes and the other sources, I don't want to have to figure out how to merge those back. So what I've done in the past, like for example, my camera here is aligned right in front of me, and at home you'll notice I'm sort of off to the side. And when I switch to this view, you know, when I'm center aligned, it's fine. But at home, I have to like crop it differently. So I've actually got a different source at home, which is like a mirror source of the camera shifted and cropped. And when I start my streams at home, it knows I'm at home and it automatically enables different camera sources throughout my scene tree. So everything is aligned correctly. So I'm thinking of using the same technique for the mic sources so that it's location aware. My stream configuration is location aware. Is that a thing you can... Oh, so Yannick, this I think you're imparting wisdom I did not know. So Yannick is saying, no, you're using the config folder. This is true. In fact, let's go through this. Let's actually look directly at what we're talking about so I can follow along, because I think Yannick is about to teach me something and I love being taught new things. Oops. So let's just drag this down here. So here's my file browser. Here's my studio folder. Here's my stuff. Here's OBS. And here is the actual what I'm streaming from right now is here. And here is my config folder. Okay. And Yannick says, I'm suggesting that below config, you add config.d and add specific bits there. So is that something that OBS Studio does? Oh, this is something I'll have to do. Oh, gosh. So you're suggesting that... So that would... No, I'm not going to do that. So I think what you're suggesting, Yannick, is I have like some config overrides, like context-aware location overrides, and I write some glue that integrates those configuration changes into the OBS configuration. I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to do that. What I'll do, let's do this. I'll try and explain. I'll use my current working. In fact, no. Let's use my old config because I know this is well old now. So let's run my other version of OBS here. So launch anyway, and then I'll bring that in here and I'll show you the sort of thing I'm thinking of doing. Where is it? Why did that not load? Oh, well, that's disappointing. Well, let's try the work in progress one then. Let's try open new. Run. Launch anyway. Well, that's unusual. None of them have started. Okay, well that's a problem. This worked the other day, didn't it? Oh, well, I can't demo it. Oh, well. Anyway, I will explain how to do this at some point. I'll test the theory, but I've done it with cameras before. I think I'll do it with the mic sources, so I can dynamically switch them as the stream is brought up to use mic sources that are configured for the location that I'm in. For example, we found out earlier I needed to have higher makeup gain here than I do at home. So that's something I need to consider as well. Right, well, let's see. I think we've got one of our, yeah, we have. Awesome. Right then, let's go back here. So, do follow me on YouTube. I definitely want to try something out on my YouTube gaming channel. So, Yannick put a link to that earlier. If you've still got that handy, Yannick, if you could do that good thing again, because I can't remember what it is. YouTube.com Wimpy's World of Linux Gaming. Is that the one? That's the one. Here we go. So I'm gonna probably be here at some point over the weekend, and it will be very experimental, but hopefully a bit of fun. Thank you, Yannick. But now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Chris Nova. So Chris also does lots of Linux stuff and DevOps stuff and all that sort of thing. So we're going to head over there for why can't I how do I do that then? The chat's not showing me either. Twitch is misbehaving. Oh, Twitch is really misbehaving. Right. Yeah, I know, Paul. Let's mute that. Go to my own place. Gosh. I'm having a technology fail. So let's see if we can figure this out the old-fashioned way. There we go. Right, let's do that. Right, in a few seconds we'll be able to do the right thing. Right then, so thanks very much for stopping by, everyone. I'll see you Monday and Wednesday next week, if not before, over on YouTube over the course of the weekend. So let's go raiding. Bye for now. See you soon.